Hello and welcome to another video in Foundations in Maternal and Newborn Health. Today we're going to be talking about the circulatory system, and we're going to go into quite a bit of detail on the anatomy and physiology of the heart. So the anatomy of the heart's a little complicated. I'm going to try to break it down into a bunch of simple, smaller pieces. And to start off, I'm just going to remove these big vessels on the heart, and you can see we sort of have a very simple looking diagram here. And you can think of the heart as a house, and there are 4 rooms in the house. There are these small rooms up here, and then these bigger rooms down here. And so these big rooms are called ventricles. And these small rooms up here are called atria. Plural when there's more than one, but atrium singular. So atria, atrium, and ventricles. Also, in between the atria and ventricles are these doors, and you can think of them as like doors to the house, or doors to various rooms in the house, I guess. And these doors are called valves. So these guys are called valves. And what's important about these valves is that they only work in a single direction. And the reason that's important, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but the blood in the heart can only move from the atrium to the ventricle. It can't move the other way. So it's like a one-way door. You can only go one way with it. You can't go backwards. So that's important as well. So atrium, ventricles, and valves. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Don't worry, we'll come back to it, and I'll write it out a few times. But next we'll talk about these big vessels. And so this guy here, this big chunky red one, is called the aorta. And this blue one here is called the pulmonary arteries. And it's plural because this pulmonary artery, as you can see, it breaks off into a whole bunch of little arteries. So we'll see why that's important in a second. Additionally, in between these big vessels and the ventricles are another set of valves here in green that I've highlighted. And just like the last set of valves, these valves will only let blood go in one direction, and in this case it's from the ventricle up into the vessel. So this aorta kind of goes behind this pulmonary artery here. And so the blood can only go in this single direction. It cannot go in the other direction. So that's also important to note. So next, I'm just going to add a little bit more detail here. And you can imagine that this heart is inside of a person's chest. We're looking at this heart as if it's in someone's chest. And so I'll just draw a little smiley face here. And we can imagine that this person is looking at us. He or she is facing us. And why that's important is because this is now the patient's left side. And this on this side is the patient's right side. And the reason that is important is because this atrium here is actually called the right atrium. And this down here is the right ventricle. And then, of course, on the other side, we have the left atrium and the left ventricle. So it's a lot of vocabulary. So right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle, aorta, pulmonary arteries, and then these valves as well. Next, we're going to be talking about the circulatory system and the loop that the blood moves through. And so you can imagine that if you take the point of view of a red blood cell, a single red blood cell, we talked about red blood cells in the gas exchange video, and you can imagine that you are that red blood cell. And that red blood cell is going to be in the body. It's going to have its oxygen used up. It's going to come back to the heart through one of two ways. One of these vessels here, and its name's not important, but one of these vessels. And the reason why there are two vessels is because if the blood is coming from the top half of the body, it comes in through this vessel, and if it's coming in through the bottom half of the body, it comes in through this vessel, but they both end up here at the right atrium. So the blood coming back from the body comes to the right atrium first. So this is oxygen poor blood. I always use blue for oxygen poor blood. So this blood has a little bit of oxygen. It's coming back from the body, and it passes through this first set of valves. And this first set of valves only opens when the heart is relaxed. So the heart's a muscle, and it can contract or relax, just like your arms or your legs. And so when the heart is relaxed, blood moves from the atrium to the ventricle. When the heart contracts, this valve gets closed shut, and the blood moves up from the ventricle through the next set of valves into the pulmonary arteries. And again, when the heart relaxes this time, these valves shut so that the blood can't come back into the ventricle. So this blood moves up through the pulmonary arteries, and as it moves out through the pulmonary arteries, it heads to the lungs. And it's not really shown here, but the pulmonary arteries come out both sides. So there's another set of pulmonary arteries on this side that head to the other lungs. This would be the right lung. This would be the left lung. And then, of course, as we covered in the gas exchange video, it comes back from the lungs as oxygen-rich blood. And it comes back to the heart from both sides. And it comes back to the left atrium. So all of your fresh oxygenated blood from the lungs ends up here at the left atrium. And again, when the heart relaxes, this blood from the left atrium comes down into the left ventricle. It fills up this left ventricle. And again, when the heart contracts, it moves up from the ventricle into one of these big vessels. It moves into the aorta and gets pumped through this big vessel. And it can go multiple routes here. As you can see, there are multiple vessels and these ones head to the upper part of the body, including the brain most notably. But it can also, the aorta continues down behind the heart here, and comes out the bottom here, and this heads to anything in the lower half of the body, so the legs, or the uterus. This would also be the bowels. So that's oxygen-rich blood heading to the body to drop off that oxygen. So that's a lot of information. Definitely make sure that you know all of these terms and the circulation of blood through the body. As in the next video, we're going to be talking about the fetal circulatory system, which definitely gets a little bit more complicated.